unholy howls keeping you inside at night? Luigi can help. All ghosts gone. Meet on southern pier of the Silverton port. Donations gratefully accepted. This town loves the supernatural, but all I see is another scam to disprove.
The world shrivels under a skeptic's eye. That's why you're so sullen, Sherry. You leave no room for delight in the magical.
I delight in making the unknown known. Let us begin by asking someone about the poster and then pay this Luigi a visit to the port. Not much brandy was spilled when the bottle broke. Someone had drunk most of it already. Not enough blood for a murder, but plenty to suggest fists were flying in a collie shangles. I wonder if Luigi made it himself.
I reckon the ghost is responsible for all this mess.
Don't jump to conclusions. Until we locate any evidence to the contrary, we shall continue to exclude the supernatural. Let me concentrate, John. The ghost hunter's stand was here. Someone stormed up angrily.
Let me take it from here. It was the ghost of Cordona, a horrific being, formless, with evil eyes and glassy skin that shimmered like a nebula. It lurched towards its foe.
No, John, it was human. We're staring at the evidence of a scuffle between men.
A little imagination never hurt anybody.
If a mark realizes they've been had, that the fear was baseless, the money defrauded, they will likely return to voice their displeasure. And thus Luigi took a beating. Fools should have at least moved locations between scams. After the attack, he fled bloodied and bruised. Looks like he crawled that way. The empty bottle suggested intoxication. This vomit confirms it.
Well, if you were tailing supernatural creatures for a living, wouldn't you start drinking?
Thanks to you, I am often forced to tail the supernatural. There's a bottle missing. After expelling all the alcohol from his stomach, it seemed he was compelled to replenish it.
Perhaps because booze eases the pain of his lonely and dangerous life as a ghost hunter.
You need to stop reading the Penny Dreadfuls. He threw the bottle here. We must be near his hideout.
Maybe we just leave, Sherry. There is no need to disturb the ghost hunter from his beauty sleep.
Looks like an appropriate home for a ghost hunter.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Donations, one presumes. So this is where all the money was going. Handcrafted, actually rather beautiful work. an eerie and unsettling sound. The painter definitely has an aesthetic. So you see, John, nothing supernatural, just a drunken lowlife fooling superstitious sailors for a living. You can't argue with the truth. The truth will out no matter what one does. You can embellish it all you like, but you're just delaying the inevitable.
Well, he can delay it no more. After what happened at the port, this scam won't work again.
It looks as though someone or something has escaped.
A statue of a buckled cage inside a city full of criminals. Let's take a closer look, Sherry.
It used to contain a silver statue of a miner's canary. They were often used by miners to detect fire damp. For the ones who gave their lives in the silver mines, for the safety and prosperity of Miners' End, 1830. The lattice work was bent a long time ago. A gloomy picture,
But quite poetic. A symbol of safety and prosperity has vanished from Miners' End, and now only the cage is left to remind the residents of their past glory.
The canary was stolen a long time ago. There's no hope in finding it now, but perhaps someone might know at least something about it. We should ask the people around here. Could you help me?
No one listens to us, so why should I listen to you? Oof, bad.
May I ask for your assistance?
I'll tell you what I know, my friend.
Look who's here. Oh.
My grandma, God bless her, had known the man who had My grandma, God bless her.
The thief died in grief. A poetic story for such an unpoetic place.
Safety is gone, and tears take the rest.
I thought he'd kill the boy. I've never seen... I thought he'd kill the boy.
Let's hope no one's been hit by this smooth mineral. A deck of tarot cards, very popular among street performers. Someone has over-egged the pudding with these spangles. The name of the original performer has been replaced with Dilwyn.
You know what? Put on the magic cap. I have a feeling it'll help.
It's not actually magic, John.
Well, not to you perhaps, but to a boy, any magician's hat is special.
Should have known better than to jostle a police officer.
It's all right, boy. You can come out. Your pursuer has been intercepted by Cordona's finest.
I didn't do... Hey, that's my hat you're wearing.
I know it is. I followed you from your magic stand. Are you okay?
I'm fine. You should keep the hat. It makes you look like the amazing Alonzo. He's the best magician around. It never suited me anyway.
Is that so? Let me take a look at you. You wear your bruises like a badge of honor, a souvenir of your street antics. Your clothes are ragged, yes, but your hair and nails are clean. You're no urchin. This is a rich boy's game, a way to fight off boredom. You made a costume, snuck out from home, and put your skills to the test.
Wow, I guess you do know me.
Clearly. So, tell me, why did you call that man a liar?
Because he is. He told me he's a lord. But no lord has calluses on his hands and sour cabbage stuck in his moustache. He came after me. He caught me with a fist. Nasty bugger.
What did you expect? You embarrassed him in front of his peers and he couldn't admit it. Of course he would lash out. You must be careful how you deploy the truth, Dilwyn. It's a potent weapon, as easily turned against the speaker as it is brandished by him.
Yeah, well, the truth is what people pay me for. I simply notice things others don't. But I think you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I can do it too. It's called deductive reasoning. I happen to be somewhat of an expert in it.
I never knew there was anyone else like me.
Your abilities come with consequences, Dilwyn. To adults, you're a nuisance. To other kids, a freak. You must learn how to blend in. Bite your tongue.
But I don't want to blend in.
Then they will lock you up. The truth hurts, and the bigger the truth, the further men will go to silence it. Be careful how and when you deploy it.
All right. I mean, it was just an amusement.
Yes, nothing like a swift uppercut to really pass the time. Perhaps when faced with the monotony of this world, you will find a place in your mind to explore instead. There is little to gain in idle provocation. For now, I think you should go home. Your parents might be worried about you. And, if I may, consider applying your brilliant mind to academia. There is still much in this world to be discovered, explored, and explained.
Now you sound just like my Uncle Gilbert. But fine, I'll go. I'm hungry anyway.
Before you go, impress me. What do you see?
You're overconfident, as a way to mask your insecurities. You're more vain than you care to admit. And you notice when people notice you. You act like you don't need anyone, because it's easier to pretend you like being alone than to ask for help. You desperately hope to find somewhere you belong. But you never will. Nowhere, no one will ever be enough. And the truth is, you're terrified. You're too smart and too empty inside. You know how dangerous that is, and you know exactly what you're capable of.
Valiant attempt, but alas, you've missed the mark.
Oh, really? Well, what does John think?
Sherlock, did he just... how?
I don't know.
Salty breeze, old ruins, dusty roads. Do you recall clambering over these walls as a child?
Perhaps. Did we find something at the top?
Ah, it was an old skull. What a lucky find for a pair of young adventurers.
It was easier to climb these walls back then. Not merely because we're older, but because the...
Oh, yes. I remember
You
his
said we
face
needed
as
to
we
bury
flew
him.
by with a skull in our hands.
He looked as
One would
shocked
think
as our
burying
grisly
a human
companion.
skull would stick in the mind, but somehow... no. Nothing ever bothers an old Ottoman backgammon player.
This wasn't the right place for a funeral. We were looking for somewhere more appropriate.
Funny, nowadays you love putting men behind bars.
You're a fellow of infinite jest, aren't you? The water level was higher back then.
I remember swimming through this mire while trying not to breathe in the horrible odour.
This is where we buried it. It seems that with time, our friend has emerged once more. The skull is ancient. Its likeliest owner was one of the Knights Hospitaller who died during the siege of the fortress. I remember now, you said this skull was my father's.
A child's imagination is a powerful tool. You needed this. A burial process of your own. A ritual so you could begin to grieve.
Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. I felt so alone back then, John. Uncertain. Abandoned by my father.
I know.
The skull wasn't his, though it may as well have been. In the earth, all of us look alike. But putting this man to rest, it did help.
I'm glad, Sherry.
I find myself rather tempted to keep it. If not for sentimental value, then it's archaeological merit.